We are now less than a week away until Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door drops on Nintendo Switch. I can't believe that is just a truthful sentence that came out of my mouth. For the longest while now, I've just been wanting to talk about this remake. I mean, I'll definitely be talking about it after it comes out, but in the pre-build-up, as we've gotten to this point, you know, the reality of the situation has set in more and more, and my excitement has grown to an even bigger extent than it was when this was first announced, because now it feels tangible, you know? When you're a few days away from the release, it feels real. So we're just going to be talking about this remake right now. This is a classic unscriptendo, stupid. I'm sticking with it. Unscriptendo video. We're just going to be going over everything I've wanted to say about this game, which is a lot because it looks amazing. First things first, I really just want to talk about how unreal this game still feels like, because even though I was just talking about tangibility and how close it is and how it's almost in our hands, it still feels weird, right? Like, I can't be the only one feeling this way, because it's such a random, like, deviation from what we've been seeing of this franchise for, like, the past decade, right? Because, like, here's the thing. The reason Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, despite being a remake, you know, it's not a new game, but the reason it feels so next level, on the level of some of these other Nintendo reveals that people never thought we were going to see, is because, like, this very well could have been it. This could have been dead. When you look at something like Pikmin 4, right? Pikmin 4, as excruciating as that wait was, and as painful as, you know, Miyamoto's Pikmin 4 is almost finished statements were, right? Like, we never thought we weren't getting Pikmin 4, right? Like, maybe I'm alone in that, but, like, Nintendo clearly has a soft spot for Pikmin. Even though we had to wait an excruciatingly long time, there was never a point where I thought, okay, we are just never getting Pikmin 4. Pikmin is dead forever and it will never have another release. Like, no. There was always going to be a Pikmin 4, right? It was just a matter of the dev team finding enough time, and you know, with 18, they found someone that they could work with that could ease that workload, because EPD10 was also working on Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which had, like, no release deadline at all. Getting off topic, whatever. But, like, there was never a worry for me that we would never get Pikmin 4, okay? Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door, like, classic Paper Mario, that's different. Because even though classic Paper Mario died, right, Paper Mario was still alive and thriving. And, you know, I say thriving in the context of, like, performance, you know? The Origami King sold, like, 3.5 million or something, or, like, maybe more than that even, which I think was second only to Super in the series performance. While classic Paper Mario left, Paper Mario was still releasing games, you know? It had morphed, it had transitioned into something completely different. So, like, it was a real worry that classic Paper Mario would never be seen again. And, like, that's not unfounded. Like, there was reason to believe that. And out of nowhere, they did this. It's not processing for me, because, like, it seemed like such a clear-cut, like, this is what we're doing type thing, you know? Like, with Sticker Star and Color Splash, they obviously had a lot of problems, and they faced a lot of backlash, right? But with Origami King, while there was still that backlash, and while, you know, there's still a handful of people that didn't enjoy it, and myself included, you know, we're not going to get into that, but, like, even though you had that going on, it seemed like they really refined the new formula that they were going towards, you know? You had a lot of people that were enjoying the game, and they enjoyed the story and the characters, and the gameplay, like, started to really mesh with them, unlike Color Splash and Sticker Star. So it seemed like they were really just set in their ways for this new future for Paper Mario, and that was something that I sort of accepted, you know? I was like, okay, man, I'll just crawl under a rock and wait for Mario and Luigi to come back, if it does. But suddenly, we have this revival, this return, and I can't for the life of me understand why it's so un-Nintendo to, like, this unequivocally just, like, do the exact thing that people want, you know? And I'm not even trying to, like, diss Nintendo and saying that, like, obviously we have a bunch of crowd-pleasing releases, like Smash Ultimate was just this generation, and that was, like, insane, you know? Like, that was literally just fans the game. But this is crazy because, like, when has Nintendo ever just been like, hey, you know this thing that we're doing? You know this thing that, like, we really enjoy doing, clearly? People aren't really meshing with it, so we're just gonna go back to the thing we were doing, like, 2 decades ago. I can't even process it, and let's move on, right? Let's move on from just the whole, like, oh my god, I can't believe this is a real thing. Let's talk about how just good it looks, right? And let's talk, obviously, we'll start visually, because this is perfection. Like, I don't think, I said this before, I don't think the Paper Mario art style can get much better than this. Like, obviously, technically, it probably can. It's only running at 30 FPS, and, you know, that's a big deal for some people. I don't really care, I'm sorry. I mean, it would be nice at 60, but, you know, I'm not losing sleep over it. But, like, as far as art style goes, I genuinely think they finally perfected it after like 24 years. Like, I don't see how it gets any better than this. And I was never really part of like the white outline debate, you know, like as much as I think it's very respectable, and I think it's very like you should be allowed to talk about character design and like whether a character design is better or worse than a subsequent one, you know, like for some reason online it's like really frowned upon to talk about minute details in character design. I don't think that's a big deal. Like, I think you can do what you want. However, it wasn't something I really wanted to waste my time, to spend my time doing, you know, like it was not intriguing to me. And like Paper Mario discussion for a while was just like really not fun, which is why I've barely talked about Paper Mario on the channel, right? So I was never really part of that debate. But now that I've seen this, I don't know, I'm kind of looking at those white outlines, I'm kind of raising an eyebrow, because this is so... Ooh. It's like, you have like that classic, like the puppetry with the animations, you know, so you have like the layering going on, so you get all of these very smooth movements, but you still have like that sort of, like they're more visibly stacked on top of each other, you know, like the paper aesthetic is being used to like accentuate the previous art style instead of like detracting from it. And I know detracting is a big word, but you know, when you look at the animations from the games with the white outline, you know, this was obviously an intentional part of the art style, but it didn't have the same energy, you know, as the old puppet style. But now we have the puppet style back combined with like the new white outline stuff, but like just barely enough. It's like perfect. I don't see how you get any better than this. And that's something we should talk about too. Like, it's just the fact that the 1,000-Year Door, it's not just catering to old fans, you know? It's an assemblage of like everything that has worked for the franchise so far, and that's how you know that they've been listening, you know? Because like, as much as just like, if they just remastered the 1,000-Year Door, you know, just like touch it up, make it widescreen, you know, look nice enough in HD, and then dropped it on the Switch, that would already be a testament to how much they're listening to the fans, you know? But the fact that they're not just taking good things from like classic Paper Mario, but they're also taking the things that worked in modern Paper Mario and like forcing it in there, that's how you know it's like they're listening, you know? Like, it's not just like we're getting like the 1,000-Year Door straight and like nothing else is going on. Like, no, we got the new renditions of the battle theme that are happening in like a bunch of different areas. They took that from Origami King because everyone loved it there, and they're putting it in the 1,000-Year Door so that when you do a battle, it's like thematically, sonically fitting within the context of the story. Like, that's so cool, and they didn't have to do that. There's so many they didn't have to do that type things here, you know? Every single partner has their own theme now, for some reason. I don't know why they did that, but it's so perfect. Like, they're making them feel like a bigger part of the story in such a subtle way, you know? Because like, now you get introduced to a partner, and it's like, oh man, they've got like their own little theme, their own little leitmotif, you know, that's gonna carry on later throughout their own story, and it's gonna make it feel even more seamless, you know? It's gonna make them feel even more involved. And you have stuff like every partner joining you when you collect a star instead of just like the partner that you have equipped, right? Like, that's such a big thing to make it feel like your group is like really growing. The title screen fills up more and more as you unlock more and more partners. Like, that is huge, right? It seems like such a small thing, but all of those small things add up, and it's huge. And it's not just them adding new stuff either, right? They're like addressing longtime criticisms of the game. Like, they're trying to make this a perfect game. Like, the backtracking, right? They're fixing it. Like, or they're making it better. Like, they're adding more fast travel points. And the fast travel is, like, better accessible. And in points of the story where you'd be doing a lot of backtracking, you know? Or you have things like the partner ring, where you could switch partners on a dime. And it's, like, super... You don't have to open up the menu, you know? It's, like, super quick. Like, stuff like that just shows, like, okay, we are definitively making the perfect, like, this is the definitive version of the 1,000-Year Door. Like, the fact that they seem so dedicated to making a perfect version of the game is so commendable, because they could have just gotten away with, like I said, they could have just gotten away with, like, doing a little, you know, Mario Sunshine and 3D All-Stars type touch-up, but no, like, they're trying to make it perfect, which is so cool. And I think that just, like, the coolest thing here is how much Nintendo obviously wants it to do well. I don't know if you guys remember, but back when, like, the game was first announced, right, and we only got the 2024 release window, I was a little worried, because I was thinking, oh, okay, 2024, that's probably when the Switch 2 is gonna come out. You know, I was naive at the time. Whatever. But I was like, okay, if Switch 2, even if just Switch 2 hype starts in 2024, then this could very easily just be trampled by the hype, and like it could be overlooked. And then if the game doesn't perform well, then what's Nintendo gonna think? Oh, I guess Classic Paper Mario doesn't work. Back to stickers, back to Clay Mario, Paper Mario Clay Calamity coming in 2026, right? But they've been marketing this non-stop, like ever since, I think even before Endless Ocean came out, like ever since Peach, they've just been pushing this so hard, and like they're doing all this weird stuff that they don't normally do. Like they're teaming up with Twitch streamers to promote the game or something like that, and it's like, why do they want this to do so well? It's so counter to how they've been operating for the past decade with this franchise. They just switched up out of nowhere. I'm so happy. Like, they're so dedicated to this game performing well, and like I wouldn't be shocked if this game sells, like, I don't know, maybe this is ambitious, 5 million. Maybe that's too much, I don't know. But like if Origami King did like 3.5, and that was like during the pandemic and they weren't even like pushing it that much, like they've been pushing this since fall of last year, and like now they've been pushing it so hard, and they're doing all of this marketing stuff. Like they want it to do so well. And I think it's like a commentary on just the Mario franchise as a whole at this point, right? Because you have all of these random decisions being made where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, suddenly we're gonna listen to fans now, right? Like Mario Wonder, right? 2D Mario was one of the most heavily criticized portions of Mario for like the past decade or so, because, or I guess not decade, because like you didn't really have releases outside of New Super Mario Bros. U, but like, you know, the New Super Mario Bros. Franchise the New Super Mario Bros. Series has become like pretty divisive and pretty highly criticized. So Nintendo's like, hey, you know what? We're just gonna drop like this highly creative, like goofy, wacky, original 2D Mario game. You're welcome, right? Mario RPGs. Oh yeah, Mario RPGs, we lost Mario and Luigi, and Paper Mario isn't even an RPG anymore. It's like an adventure thing, so Mario RPGs don't even exist. Okay, Super Mario RPG remake, the Thousand Year Door remake, two of the most highly praised, if not the most highly praised, sorry Bowser's Inside Story, Mario RPGs ever created. Beautiful remakes, you're welcome, right? What's next? I mean, I guess Mario Party Superstars, it's kind of the same thing as Thousand Year Door. You know, they're revisiting the classic state of the series to try to recapture that energy. So hopefully the next Mario Party game is good. You know, it's probably going to be at next month's Direct. Hopefully it's good, because if not, that's going to suck. But like, this is so good to get out there before the next gen starts, you know? Like, we're getting all of these, like, revisiting the origins of the series things before the next gen starts, because now when we go into the next gen, we're getting that original Paper Mario game. And it's gonna be classic, you know? We're gonna have partners, and we're gonna have this grand story, and we're gonna have, like, this beautiful aesthetic. And it's gonna be immaculate. This is not a real game. Buy this game, please, so that we can have good things in the world. That's all. Bye.